morning, Shamstars. Welcome to class. Hope you all are fine. We are doing chapter number 4, Change and Development in Rural Society. And today we cover following topics: caste system, dominant caste, and land tenure system. Caste system is an important part of Indian rural life. Its importance is still distinctly visible. There is a complex connection between caste and class. Generally, the upper caste have large land holdings and more wealth, and the lower caste have no land holdings and usually work as laborer. But this is not always true. For example, the Brahmins who are on the top in caste hierarchy are not major landowners. Thus, they are not included in the agrarian structure, though they are a part of rural society. On the other hand, major land owning groups belong to caste that belong to Shudras or Kshatriyas Varnas. Because of their land owning, they have climbed up the ladder of social stratification. Such castes were called dominant caste by M.N. Srinivas. Now, dominant caste versus landowners. In most rural areas, the large landowners belong to a few castes only. They were referred to as dominant caste by M.N. Srinivas. In each region, the dominant caste is the most powerful group economically and politically and dominates local society. Examples of land owning groups are the Jats and the Rajputs of UP, Reddis in Andhra Pradesh, Yadvas in Bihar, Patidars in Gujarat, and Jat Sikhs in Punjab. The farmers of the backward caste have become dominant caste by taking advantage of the Green Revolution. The term dominant caste is used to refer to a caste which yield economic or political power and occupies a fairly high position in the hierarchy. Srinivas says that the existence of dominant caste is not particular to Rampura village only, it is also found in other villages of the country. Now we talk about land tenure system in India. The nature of agrarian relations in a country depend on its land ownership system. In India, it is necessary to understand land ownership and land tenure to understand agrarian relation. Land ownership or land tenure means owner of land, the duties, rights and responsibility toward the cultivators, and relation with the state for giving revenue. In other words, who has the permanent right on land, who does the actual work on land, what is policy to determine the revenue on land, these three factors determine land ownership. Thus, the meaning of land ownership is the system that determines ownership of land and the right and duties of such landowners toward those who work on it and toward the state. Land tenure system at the time of independence. Now we read about that. Before independence, the land tenure system in India has three main forms, kinds or classes, which were Riyatwari system, that is 52%, Zamindari system, that is 40%, and rest is Mahalwari system. First we discuss about the Zamindari system. This system was started by Lord Cornwallis in 1793 in Bengal. In reality, the East India Company initiated the Zamindari system in order to create a class of landowners with special rights for the sake of their vested interest. Actually, the land revenue officers were promoted and made landowners or zamindars. Initially, the rent collectors collected land revenue only and got some commission. But in the zamindari system, they were made the land owners. With the result, the class of people with permanent interest in land emerged. This class collected revenue from the cultivators and paid revenue to the government. Next, we have Rayatwari system. Under the Rayatwari system, no intermediary owner were recognized. The actual tillers of the soil were given transferable rights in their lands. The first Rayatwari program was launched in 1792 in Madras. The system was the outcome of Hindu custom. This system was prevalent in Bombay, Berar in central India. According to the system, the Rayat had the right to give his land on rent, and as long as he paid revenue to the government, he could retain right on the land. This way, it was in direct contrast to zamindari system. The Rayats had to pay revenue directly to the government. After a fixed period of paying revenue to the government, the Rayats became owner of the land. In case they were unable to pay the rent, they were deprived of land rights. Now we talk about Mahalwari system. According to this system of land tenure, the whole rural community had joint rights on land, and the members of the village were either individually or collectively responsible for paying rent. This system was first implemented in Agra and Awadh and later in Punjab. Even the barren land of the village was under their joint ownership. Actually, this system was the outcome of Muslim tradition in Punjab. Under this system, a fixed amount of rent was charged, which could be paid individually or collectively. The village Lambarda collected the rent, for which he earned 5% commission. The prevailing land tenure system in India before independence was not appropriate from the perspective of economic production or socio-economic justice. Therefore, it was considered absolutely essential to recognize the land tenure system after independence. The common farmer during this phase was going through a period of extreme poverty, and his socio condition was going from bad to worse. Consequently, the land reform programs were implemented in all states and union territories for the sake of socio-economic production. Here we talk about the consideration of land holding. First, we talk about ceiling on land holding. The government fixed a ceiling on land holding with the objective of acquiring land above a certain level from the present landholders to distribute it among the landless tenants. Most holdings are not only small but widely scattered. Thus, legislative measures for consolidation of holdings have been undertaken in most of the states. The whole rural area was divided into sectors, and each sector had various facilities provided by the government. A person from another sector could not use the facilities of another sector. They have to use the facilities of their own sectors. Then we have tenancy reform. Tenancy reform laid emphasis on regulation of rent, security of tenure, and right of purchase for the tenants. The government has distributed waste land to the landless villages living below the poverty line in order to improve their standard of living as well as increase agriculture production. Another aspect of land reform policy was the abolition of intermediary tenures. Law have been passed in all the states regarding this method. All the three systems were not only unjust but were characterized by acute economic exploitation and social oppression. Next is modernization and updating land records. The records of rights in land has been faulty and unsatisfactory. It is in view of this that updating of land record have been made a part of land reform measures. Besides, steps have also been taken to computerize these records in order to remove the problem of land records. In the year 1988 and 89, a centrally sponsored scheme for computerization of land records was launched in 8 districts. In 1997 to 98, this scheme was implemented at the Tehsil Taluka level so that the records are available to the common people. By March 31, 2002, this scheme had been implemented in 2426 tehsils, talukas of 569 districts. That's it for today. In next class, we will discuss about the Green Revolution and its social consequences. Thank you, Shemstars. You can drop your queries on the Google Classroom. Take care.